right, this video is for pre-algebra, part 4, and in it we're working out inequalities. So remember that if you divide by a negative, that's the only time when the idea changes. Other than that, we just solve these like regular equations. So in this first one, it says that 5x plus 2 is less than or equal to 17. And let me put on my pen here. To be able to solve it, I got to do the opposite of what everything's doing to x. So if 2 is adding to x, I got to subtract it from both sides. It's going to give me 5x is less than or equal to 15. Divide out my 5 because it's multiplying the x, and x is equal to, or is less than or equal to 3. All right, so when I graph it, let's put some context of a 0 here. All right, I'm going to have a closed circle because it's also equal to, and it's going to be the values less than. If I say x is less than 3, I'm saying 2, 1, 0. And those are all found on the left of the 3. All right, and this one, because 3 is adding to the x, I have to subtract it. And whatever I do on one side, I must do on the other side. You got to be fair, right? All right, now the 9 is multiplying the x, so I'm going to divide it on both sides, and I'm going to get a 2. And if I graph my possibilities, 2 is going to equal, so it gets a closed circle, and it's everything greater than 2. So numbers greater than 2 are 5, 17, bazillion, and all those numbers can be found to the right. All right. Now in this one, the 9 is subtracting x. So to do the opposite operation, I actually have to add it. And it says that x has to be greater than 20. If I graph that possibility, I have to have an open circle because 20 is not included in the set. And it's all the stuff to the right. And the reason it goes to the right is because greater than 20, numbers greater than 20 would be 40 bajillion, 1,000, 4,900. And all these things can be found to the right of the 20. Now the x, the 6 is adding the x in this situation, so I have to subtract it to do that opposite operation, and I'm going to get a 21 on the right-hand side. Now the 7 is multiplying x, so the opposite operation would be to divide, and 7 goes into 21 3 times. So now I have the set of values as my answer where x is less than 3. So numbers less than 3 are 2, 0, negative 100. All the numbers that are to the left of the 3. All right, so in this one, 5 is subtracting x, so the opposite operation would be to add 5 to both sides, and we're going to get 6 on the right-hand side. So now I see that the 2 is multiplying that x, so to undo it, I have to divide it. That's its opposite operation, and x is greater than 3. Now if I graph those values, I know if I'm looking for a number x greater than 3 or number greater than 3, I'm looking at 4, I'm looking at 10, I'm looking at 1,036, I'm looking at a bajillion, I'm looking at all the numbers to the right of 3. In this one, 3 is adding to the x, so the opposite operation would be to subtract. And we are going to get a negative 8 on the right-hand side. All right, so now I got to divide that 2 out because it's multiplying the x. And I am going to get a negative 4. So x is less than or equal to negative 4. So first I know I'm getting a closed circle because it's included in the set. But then I got to look at what's going on. X is less than negative 4. A number less than negative 4, because that's all x is, a number. Okay, less than negative 4, well that would be negative 6, negative bazillion, all the numbers to the left of the 4, the negative 4. All right, in this one, 7 is subtracting x, so the opposite operation would be to add it on both sides. So now we have 9x is less than 45. All right, now I got to divide out the 9 because it's multiplying the x, and that is the opposite operation. And 9 goes into 45 5 times. So in this one, x is all the values that are less than 5. A number is a value less than 5. Those are those numbers to the left of the 5. That's the 0. That's the -5. It's any number less than 5. And that's what x stands for, every single number that is unknown. All right, in this one, first thing I got to do is subtract that 1 on both sides. That's going to give me an x over 2 is greater than 2. And the opposite operation of dividing is multiplying. That cancels out, but what I do to one side, I have to do the other. So I get x is greater than 4. All right, so if it's a number greater than 4, that's 5, that's 6, that's a bajillion. It's the numbers to the right. All right, ooh, there's 16 in this one. Okay. So in our next problem, we have 8 subtracting the x. So the first thing I need to do is add it on both sides. Now this one may or may not. No, I don't think it will. I thought for a second it might turn into a fraction. But after we divide that, I don't know actually. 9 and, let's see. And we know it goes in 54 times because that would be times 9. So 4 over 2 is the same as 2/3. So 9 and 2/3. Okay, that's our x. So x is the stuff greater. So it's 10, it's 11, 12, and it also includes that 9 and 2/3. All right, in this one, the 6 is being added to the x, so we have to subtract it. So x over 5 is greater than -9. Next thing is that opposite operation of multiplying the 5 on both sides. So now x is greater than a -45. So when I graph it, it's not equal to, but it has to be greater. So it has to be 0, 1, 5, 100, all the values to the right. All right, now in number 11, we have some other things going on here. We have the 3 being subtracted from x, which means I have to add it on both sides. So I have x over 3 is less than 11. Last step, multiply out that 3 because it's dividing the x and that's the opposite operation. And we find that x is less than 33. So when I graph that on a number line, if it has to be a number less than 33, then that's 0. That's -1. That's all the numbers to the left of 33. All right. 2x minus 14 is greater than or equal to 86. First thing I need to do is look at this 14 that's subtracting x and add it on both sides. That's going to give me 2x is less than or equal to 100. All right. And now, because the 2 is multiplying the x, I got to divide it on both sides. And x is less than or equal to 50. All right. If I map out my range of answers, because remember, in inequalities, there's not one answer. This is saying that it's equal to 50, but it's also other numbers. And it says it's a number less than 50. So that could be 49, that could be 0, that could be any negative number. It's the numbers on the left of 50. All right, in this one, at 7x plus, we have 7x plus, we have 6x. So the first thing I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to get my x's together. So if I do that, I have 13x is less than -26. So the next thing I need to do is divide because 13 is multiplying x. and I get a -2. 13 goes into 26 two times. So x is actually even more negative numbers because it's a number less than -2. That's -5. That's -10. That's more and more in debt. It's the numbers to the left of the -2. Now in this one, first thing I'm going to have to do is distribute this 2 through our parentheses and get 2x minus 8 is greater than or equal to 18. Then I'm going to have to add the 18 on both sides, giving me 2x is greater than or equal to 26. The last step will be to divide out the 2 since it's multiplying the x, and we get x is greater than or equal to 13. That idea again, only backwards. All right, so we know on the number line that x is going to equal to 13, but it's also everything greater than. A number greater than or equal to 13. That can be 15, 20, 100. It's the numbers to the right. All right, again, got to get those like terms together. So I'm going to get 9x and -3x together, which is going to give me a 6x. That looks like a much easier problem. Now when I divide out the 6, because it's the opposite operation of multiplication, I'm going to get a 4. So x is less than or equal to 4. All right, so a number less than 4 would be 0, 3, -1. The number's on the left of 4. All right, another distributing. It's going to be 7x plus 35. All right, so first thing I need to subtract this 35. Do not make the mistake of adding it and getting a 0. That's not what's going on here. I'm adding up my debt. I have -$35, and then I go and I spend another $35 that I don't have, putting that money on the credit card, and we end up with a -70. Because the x is multiplying the x, I have to divide it on both sides, and x is going to equal or going to be less than a -10. So on my number line, I'm looking for a number less than -10. Well, that's -12, -20, on down on the number line. Okay, so the numbers to the left are less than. All right, I think that's it. It is. All right, I'll see you guys in class. Make sure you ask me any questions you have. Bye.